जान कुछ करते नहीं है ना पता है अभी मां क्रैश का मम्मी के बाल उठाएगा हां ओ सॉरी नहीं पता मैं मुझे आज नहीं आ रहा वो जान कुछ करने उठाएगा क्योंकि कौन सा मोबाइल अगर यो फॉलो बैन पे इसको ये आईडी इसमें कौन सा ग्रुप डाला नई आईडी बनाई अच्छा ये ना मैं वो की टेक्स्ट नई आईडी बनाई हां पीपीटी मैं नहीं बना दी ये बना दी इसमें लिखा है वो बस पूरी एक तो और बनाना
Hey, who is this? Plastic.
बाद में इसे भी देखा
इन कॉलेज के
पहचान किया है दे दो काम आएगा ना मेरे को दे दो छोड़ो ना मेरे यहाँ वो है मेरे दोस्त सब मेरे हां रजियो का कोई नाम नहीं है रजियो भी नहीं मैंने
लास्ट
अभी मैथ्स है सॉल्व के लिए ना फिर तो हमारा किसी का नहीं होगा देखते हैं तो ड्राइंग होता है इसके अंदर है इसलिए ये
उधर बार-बार उसमें फिजिक्स का नहीं
का रिज्यूम
नहीं
इतनी बड़ी एनालिसिस पड़ी है फाइलिंग का सही तो फाइल उसमें एक के बाद मेरे ये एनालिसिस है नहीं हां लड़कों को लगता है क्या
लड़कों को लगता है
अच्छा हां
बड़ी का
जो मॉड्स बॉडी
नाम अरे यार शॉर्ट्स में प्लेयर हो गए एकदम बैक शॉट्स हां
लोग मेरा हॉटस्पॉट ही नहीं आ रहा
आ रहा है और
चालू है देखो आ रहा है इसको अबे इसको यार मेरे को भी नहीं आ रहा इसको
अबे तो ओनली 1% करके रखा होगा
नहीं ये से आईफोन में फीचर ही थी ओनली 1%
क्या
मैक्सिमम 20 है
डायरेक्टली होता
का दूसरा नाम रहेगा
मत कर ना
क्या बोले
फरीन का दूसरा नाम है शिवा
शिवा
हाँ
और बिजनेस की मेरे को
फरीन का शिवा
सर्कमफ्रेंस में सब कुछ नहीं
Oh my God.
तू नाम चीज का
मेरा
नाम
देख
बोल
तेरा वी कहाँ से
मेरा खुद का ही चल रहा है मेरा चलता है कितने कार्य है अबे नहीं रियल लाइफ स्टडीज मैम देखो नो मैम यू गेव इट 21 मैम 91 मैम मुझे करना ज्यादा बड़ा
वीओ हाँ ट्रैवलिंग स्पेस
What? Vyom?
हाँ
Vyom का मतलब sky. Yes.
हाँ तो वही होना मैम ये
ये
संस्कृत बुक में
उसका अलग था क्या?
तेरा असली का नाम रहेगा व्योम शाह व्योम सुरा व्योम सदर व्योम गरी व्योम अरखा व्योम मन व्योम वर्ग व्योम अकीशा व्योम मंगना
व्योम अकीशा
बहुत सारे नाम हैं
ठीक है.
क्या बता सकती थी
जो मना नहीं मिला मुझे इसमें
नहीं मिला.
नहीं मिला
वर्टिकल नहीं मिला 30-32 मिलियन अबे क्या कर दिया
अरे बहुत दूर से बिका तू.
$52.8 million. मेरा फॉर्च्यून $60 million का मेरा ऑल ओवर फॉर्च्यून टोटल है $106 million इसमें से बिजनेस है और $20 million निकाल लिया $32 million का बैंक अकाउंट नेकलेस नेक बैंड हेलो फ्रैक्चर लगने लगते हैं वो
Okay, I wanted to ask, did the teacher teach this poem?
One song.
This poem, please. Hello boys, now pay attention. Has your teacher taught this poem? The trees? Okay, now has she taught it as the women struggling? Or the nature? Both the ways? Nature? Okay, because, so what did she say? That man did not care about the nature, and therefore the trees
he kept
were
on planting trees in his house and kept on chopping
the trees from the forest, and therefore the forest was empty, and therefore has she linked it with deforestation? Therefore the forest was empty, and therefore nature, it did not care about the nature, and now the trees, now there is a need to replant the trees in the forest. Some even take this interpretation in this way. Okay. Now, just Vedant, pay attention. Some even take the interpretation as the trees were destroyed from the forest because man kept cutting down the trees. Man kept destroying nature, did not care about the nature, and it only cared about the planting to decorate the trees to decorate the house. Okay, and therefore these plants were in the house. Now, because the forest is without trees, everybody is suffering. Insects cannot hide, birds are suffering, they cannot sit on the branches, there is no shade because the sun cannot have the shadow and cannot bury its feet in the shadow, and therefore now there is a need to replant the forest. But the actual meaning is not that. The poet, when she wrote, she took it as a metaphor for women. But if the question if question comes related to nature, then understand there is the second interpretation by many. So write accordingly. Okay?
The necklace.
Two questions, at least two questions.
Yes.
Two questions. I asked you orally. One line answers you will manage. Two questions.
No, 1.5. Question
Okay, now the first question. Why are the trees moving out? Why are the trees moving out in the forest?
Because they've been trapped inside the house for way too long, gaining space to move out, so they are trying to occupy themselves and break the windows and
Okay. Yes.
So in the poem, trees represent women when they were not allowed to move out of the house. But now they are breaking all the chains and bars and now moving on.
Why forest? Because
forest is the open
their natural habitat, that is their natural habitat. It is the open space where they can grow to the fullest of their potential. Okay. So you can write in the poem, I'll dictate part of this answer. In the poem, the trees are metaphor for women. Why don't you write? I'm dictating the answer. In the poem, the trees are metaphor for women. The trees have been confined to the house. The trees have been confined or kept in the house. Confined to the house for a long time. They were without freedom to grow and completely controlled by man. They were without freedom to grow and completely controlled by man. They are moving into the forest, but now they are moving into the forest as it is their natural habitat. They are struggling to break the barriers. They are struggling to break the barriers and move into the forest as it will offer them as it will offer them space to grow to the fullest of their potential. That's it. Second one, why do you think the poet does not mention the departure of the forest from the house?
Departure of the forest from the house or the tree?
Forest. The poem says forest. So that means trees. See, the answer given here on page 48 is quite apt. Only change I would say is the poet hardly mentions the departure in her letter because it is humans who did not care for nature in the first place. So there you write, it is humans did not care for nature or the trees in the first place. Trees and in the bracket write women. Okay, nature. So when you write nature, write the place of women in the world. Understood something? See, the answer given here no, is apt. Page 48, question 5. Vedant, 1 minute, pay attention. Page 48, question 5 is the answer is perfect. It says, it is humans who did not care for nature in the first place. When you write nature in the bracket, write the world including women. Nature here is world including women. That's it. That is the only change. Rest all the answer is same. So you're sharp and alert. Otherwise, in all the other classes, or you're like that only. Oh, he's so sorry. I say like that. Not well. Cold. Why don't you wear this? Should I switch off the AC?
No. This over. From immune system.
Please write the answer so we can move to the next lesson. Next lesson. Chupna. Okay, then what do you want?
You would want some peace and quiet.
Why don't you learn the answer? Learn the answer.
It was saying because it has humans who did not touch it. And instead of that, men.
Anyway, if you're not writing, write the answer. Vedant finished writing?
No.
Slow it. No, she is very good in
You finished writing? From the Yeah, please do that.
I will play guitar on the strings. Bro, उसके लिए पहले मेरे को डॉक्टर को दौड़ेगा। दीदी को इधर देखो उसके लिए मैं ये मतलब निकल जाएंगे। अब that
Done?
they are not done.
Finish.
No, sir.
Last line क्यों बाकी है? See, you know what? Let him finish. Let's do necklace. Very, very interesting story. Yes. No?
Please, ma'am.
It is.
No, the sound, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, that sound. ये थप्पड़ दर्द में बस चल रहा है किसका frequency है अरे ma'am, it is a very polite request to pull out his lines and play guitar with the strings. वो आवाज कर रहा था
What? What do you want? No. Now we are doing necklace. You all have
Yes.
footprints without feet?
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, that's mine. It's mine. Yes, he has us.
Lakshmata.
The necklace.
The necklace. Now, very interesting. There are Mr. Loisel. Do I have everyone's attention?
100%.
Okay. So there is this couple, Matilda and her husband, Mr. Loisel, and they are not very rich. Matilda is beautiful. One day she gets an invitation to attend this party. So she purchases a new dress, but she doesn't have any jewelry to wear. So she goes to her friend. She has this rich friend. She goes to her friend and borrows her necklace. Wears to the party. It's a very and the party was a grand success. She herself was a grand success. She looked beautiful in her gown, new dress, her jewelry, a necklace basically. She danced wildly, and the night they return home, and when they return home, she realizes that the diamond necklace that she had borrowed from her friend was lost. That she lost her necklace somewhere. What happens then? How do they repay the necklace? How and what struggles they go through to do that? Because she comes from a very common family, not very rich. So how does she repay that? Is the story of the lesson, the necklace. Okay. So we start the necklace. So Vyo, she was one of those pretty young ladies born as if through an error of destiny into a family of clerks. So she was this pretty young lady, and it was actually error of destiny that कहीं तो गलती हो गई थी इसलिए other because she is very pretty and she shouldn't have been married into the family of clerks, but because of the error of destiny was born into a family of clerks. She had no dowry, no hopes, no means of becoming known, loved, and married by a man either rich or distinguished. And she allowed herself to marry a petty clerk in the office of the Board of Education because she was married into a family of clerks. There was no chance that she will meet a very rich man, a very distinguished man, and therefore, what to do? She had to marry a man who worked in the office of Board of Education as a clerk. She was simple, but she was unhappy. Now, see.
Now she was supposed
Yes.
Starting से मैंने पढ़ा ना
she suffered incessantly. Feeling herself born for all delicacies and luxuries. She suffered from the poverty of her apartment, the shabby walls and bone shelf. All these things tortured and angered her.
Okay, so she suffered incessantly. बहुत सफरिंग था किस चीज का? Exactly. She was born. See, she felt because she's beautiful, she should have all the delicacies and luxuries. She should have all the good things in life and all the luxuries in life. But she suffered from poverty of her apartment. Her apartment was simple, poor. There were shabby walls, worn out chairs, and all these things tortured her, angered her. Just constantly get upset because she doesn't have good furniture, because she doesn't have a nice big house, all those things. The only.
When she seated herself for dinner, opposite her husband, who uncovered the urine with delighted air, saying, "Oh, the good pot pie. I know nothing better than that." She would think of elegant dinners, of shining silver. She thought of exquisite food served in marvelous dishes. She had neither clocks nor bells, and she loved only those things.
Unfortunately, she loved only what? Expensive dresses and jewelry. But she had nothing of that. Husband was quite, what to say? He was a good man. He would uncover the urine and he would be happy. Happily, he would uncover the dish that she has cooked. And oh, that good pot pie, it smells good. And he would try to appreciate whatever she has done. But she would sit there with, she would keep dreaming about the elegant dinners, this food served in silverware, and best of the crockery, marvelous dishes. So she was not happy with whatever she had. She always wanted more. While the husband was probably more practical and tried to live and enjoy whatever he had. But our Matilda was always unhappy about things that she could not have, the things that she did not have. Ji.
She had a rich friend and schoolmate at convent, who she did not like to visit. She suffered so much when she returned. She
She wept,
wept for whole days of
despair.
and disappointment. One evening,
Okay, you did not understand?
No, the reading was inaudible.
So she had a rich friend. She had a rich friend that was her schoolmate from her convent time. Okay, she did not like going to her. Whenever she returned, she would cry whole day from despair and disappointment. The school friend was rich. Probably the school friend had everything, big house, lovely china, good silverware, and she would have so good dresses, jewelry. No, दूसरे का अच्छा होगा तो ज़्यादा तकलीफ होती है ना? So she would cry out of due to despair, disappointment, jealousy, basically. Yeah, read.
Uh, Here,
One evening.
one evening, her husband returned, elated, bearing in his hand a large envelope. Here, he said, "Here is something for you." She quickly drew out a printed card on which were inscribed these words: "The Minister of Public Instruction and Madam George Rampone ask the honor of Mr. and Mrs.
Madam. Mr. and Madam Loisel's
Mr. and
company.
Madam Loisel's company, Monday evening, January 18, at the minister's residence. Instead of being delighted, as her husband had hoped, she threw the invitation spitefully upon the table, murmuring, "What do you suppose I want with that? But my dearie, I thought it would make you happy. You never go out, and this is an occasion, and a fine one. Everybody wishes one, and it is very select. Not many are given to employees. You will see the whole official world there." She looked at him with an irritated eye and declared impatiently, "What do you suppose I have to wear to such a thing as that?" He had not thought of that, he stammered. "Why, the dress you wear when we go to the theatre, it seems very pretty to me." He was silent, stupefied in dismay. At the sight of his wife weeping, he stammered, "What is the matter? What is the matter?"
Okay, you understood so far? What happened? One day she got an invitation. Her husband came home with an invitation. The invitation from the Ministry of Public Instruction. And he was very happy. He thought the wife will be very happy if she gets an invitation for a party. What was the reaction?
She started weeping and
She started weeping. Why?
how beautiful.
She threw the invitation. Why did she start weeping?
Because she has nothing to wear.
She said, "What will I wear? What will I wear for this?" She said she had nothing to wear. Now the husband was silent and stupefied in dismay. That means he was silent and he was stunned because he too started feeling sad that his wife has nothing to wear and she's crying. And he couldn't understand. He started stammering, "What happened? What happened?" Please. Okay. Yeah. Okay, should I ask someone else?
I can read.
From what my dear said.
Bye, violin, chestnut.
Mom, I can read. I know exactly where I stopped.
Yes, ma'am. Got it.
No, ma'am, we did not get it. I can read.
By a violence effort, she had controlled her
Vexation, anger. Vexation is anger.
and responded in a calm voice, wiping her
Wiping her
moist cheeks. Nothing, only I have no rest, and consequently I cannot go to this affair. Give your card to
Some
some
colleague.
colleague whose wife is better fitted than I. He was grieved but answered.
Answer.
Let us see, Matilda. How much would a suitable costume cost? Something that would serve for other occasions. Something very simple. She reflected for some seconds, thinking of a sum that she could ask for without bringing with it an immediate refusal. And
A frightened exclamation.
exclamation from the economical clerk.
Finally,
She said in a hesitating voice, "I cannot tell exactly, but it seems to me that 400 francs
francs
ought
ought to cover. Okay. So how much money does she ask? 400 francs. So 400 francs, and the story was written in 1920s, was a big amount, okay, for a costume, for a dress. But she started thinking, how much should I ask? Something that will call for immediate refusal. If it's a too big an amount, then the husband will say, "No, I cannot pay that much." So she thought and came up with a number, 400 francs. Read.
He turned a little pale, for he had saved just this sum to buy a gun that he might be able to join some hunting parties the next summer. With some friends who went to shoot larks on Sunday. Nevertheless, he answered, "Very well, I will give you 400 francs, but try to have a pretty dress."
Okay. So he did have 400 francs. He had been saving the exact amount for gun, for going on a hunting parties. Okay. But he decides to sacrifice that. He decides to give the money and he says, "Okay, take the money, but make sure buy a pretty dress."
This is so sweet and sad.
Read.
The day of the ball approached, and Madam
Loises.
seemed
Madam, he had. MME, madam. He said, "Oh, me." With a straight face.
Okay.
Nevertheless, her dress was nearly ready. Her husband said to her one evening, "What is the matter with you? You have acted crazy for 2 or 3 days." And she responded, "I am vexed not to have a dress, nothing to adorn myself with. I shall have such a poverty-stricken look. I would prefer not to go to this party," he replied. "You can wear some natural flowers. In this season, they look very
Chic. Fashionable.
He used
Okay.
it before it was cool.
Okay, now see he has paid 400 rupees. she has stitched a new dress, but yet it had been some time that Madame Loisel was looking sad. So the husband again asked, "What's the matter? What happened? Why are you acting strange?" And what is her reaction? She says, "I'm vexed. I'm upset." Upset. Now, why is she upset?
Because she
She doesn't have any jewelry to wear and adorn herself. She says, "I will look very, very poor. I will present a very poverty-stricken look. I don't want to go to that party." So, what is her husband's suggestion? He said, "Why don't you wear natural flowers? They look very chic, very natural, and very fashionable. They're quite fashionable in this season." Read. Okay, read.
Can I read?
Ma'am. She was not convinced. No, she replied. There is nothing more humiliating than to have a shabby air in the midst of rich women. Then her husband cried out, "How stupid we are! Go and find your friend, Madame
Forestier.
and ask her to lend you her jewels." She uttered a cry of joy. "It is true," she said. "I had not thought of it." The next day, she took herself to her friend's house and related her story of distress. Madame Forestier went to her closet, took out a large jewel case, bought it, opened it, and said, "Choose, my dear." She saw at first some bracelets, then a collar of pearls, then a Venetian cross of gold and jewels of admirable workmanship. She tried the jewels before the glass, hesitated, but could neither decide to take them nor leave them. Then she asked, "Have you nothing more?" "Why, yes. Look for yourself. I do not know what will please you." Suddenly, she discovered in a black satin box a superb necklace of diamonds. Her hand stumbled as she took it out. She placed it about her throat against her dress and was
Ecstatic. That means very happy.
then she asked in a hesitating voice, full of anxiety, "Could you lend this?
Could you lend me this?
Only this? Why, yes, certainly."
Why did she say why so much?
Why? Yes, certainly.
She said why yes before, then she says why yes again. Is that the thing she says, or is it just in the context?
Okay,
Knowing that.
so read. Okay, one minute. She fell upon the neck of her friend, embraced her with passion, then went away with her treasure.
The day of the ball arrived.
Loisel
Was a great success. She was the brightest of all elements. Gracious and smiling and full of joy. All the men noticed her, asked her name, and wanted to be
presented.
presented. She danced with
Enthusiasm,
enthusiasm,
intoxicated with pleasure.
pleasure, thinking of nothing but all the activities. The victorious
The victory was so complete.
sweet to her heart.
So she was quite happy because everybody praised her. Men came and asked to dance with her. So she too danced the whole night. She looked elegant, gracious, smiling, full of joy, and she liked this.
Thoroughly impressed.
She enjoyed this kind of party, and she was very, very happy. Her victory was complete, sweet to her heart. Yeah, please.
She went home towards the 4 o'clock in the morning. Her husband had been half asleep in one of the little salons since midnight, with 3 other gentlemen whose wives were enjoying themselves very much. He threw around her shoulders the modest wraps they had carried, whose poverty clashed with the elegance of the ball costume. She wished to hurry away in order not to be noticed by the other women who were wrapping themselves in rich clothes. Loisel detained her with, said he, I am going to call a cab, but she would not listen and descended the steps rapidly. When they were in the streets, they found no carriage and had began to seek for one. Came to the coachman whom they saw at a distance. They walked along towards the river, hopeless and shivering. Finally, they found one of those old carriages that one sees in Paris after nightfall. It took them as far as their door, and they went merrily up to their apartment. It was all over for her, and on his heart, he remembered that he would have to be at the office by 10 o'clock. She removed the wraps from her shoulders before the glass for the final view of herself in a glory. Suddenly she uttered a cry. Her necklace was not around her neck.
Okay. Here. Read.
Next.
You're not well? Okay. Read. Loisel
Loisel, already half undressed, asked, "What is the matter?" She turned towards him excitedly. I no longer have Madame Forestier's necklace." He arose in dismay. "What? How is that? It's not possible." And they looked in the folds of the dress, in the folds of the cloak, in the pockets, everywhere. They could not find it. He asked, "You are sure you still had it when we left the minister's house?" "Yes, I felt it as we came out. But if you had lost it in the street, we would have heard it fall. It must be in the cab." "Yes, it is possible. Did you take the number?" "No. And you? Did you notice what it was?" "No." They looked at each other, utterly cast down. Finally, Loisel dressed himself again. "I am going," he said, "over the track where we went on the foot, to see if I can find it." And he went. She remained in her evening gown, not having the force to go to bed. Towards 7 o'clock, her husband returned. He had found nothing. He went to the police and the cab offices and put an advertisement in the newspapers offering a reward. She waited all day in a state of bewilderment before this frightful disaster. Loisel returned in the evening, his face pale. He had discovered nothing. He said, "Write to your friend that you have broken the clasp of the necklace and that you will have it repaired. That will give us time." She wrote as he dictated. At the end of a week, they had lost all hope, and Loisel, older by 5 years, declared, "We must replace this jewel."
Why was Loisel older by 5 years?
Because in older days, marriages would happen.
No, he became older in a week's time by 5 years due to worry.
Older by 5 years is a idiom.
No, so he got, see, it says, at the end of the week, they had lost all hope. Loisel, older by 5 years, declared. That means in that week's time,
He's very exhausted.
he aged 5 years. That means he was so worried because of the worry, he looked tired and aged. Because they had lost a diamond necklace. He was just a simple clerk. He could have never afforded one. So he was worried that now what to do? How do we replace it? What if we don't get it? Read. At the end of the week, yeah, we must replace this jewel.
In a shop of the
Palais Royal,
they found a
chaplet of
diamonds which seemed to them exactly like the one they had lost. It was valued at 40,000 francs. They could get it for 36,000.
Loisel
possessed 18,000 francs, which his father had left him. He borrowed the rest. He made
ruinous promises,
took money from
the usurers,
and the whole race of lenders. Then he went to get the new necklace.
So you understood what happened? What was the cost of the diamond necklace? 40,000. After a lot of efforts, he had managed to save 400 francs, for that gun, remember? and this was 40,000. He didn't have that much of money. He had 18,000 that was left to him by his father. How did he? The jeweler agreed to give it for 36,000. He had to arrange for another 18,000. He had 18,000, another 18,000. He made ruinous bargains. Ruinous, he borrowed money from different kinds of lenders who were ready to lend. Then made, gave some of the things that he owned. So that is called ruinous promises. Ruinous promises, took money from the users, like agreed to work for someone extra, gave some things that he owned in order to collect money.
Deposited on the merchant's counter 36,000 francs. When Madame Loisel took back the jewels to Madame
Forestier,
the latter said to her in a
Frigid
frigid tone, "You should have returned them to me sooner, for I might have needed them." Madame
Forestier
did not open the jewel box as Madame Loisel feared she would. What would she think if she should perceive the
substitution.
substitution?
That means she was worried what if she opens and she realizes that this is not exactly what I had taken. What will she think about me if she understands that I have substituted it with another necklace? What should she say? Would she take her for a robber? Madame Loisel now knew the horrible life of necessity. She did her part, however, completely, heroically. It was necessary to pay this frightful debt. She would pay it. They sent away their maid, they changed their lodgings, they rented some room in an attic. Now they had taken so much of loan, so much debt. She had to pay the debt. Now she realized what is a horrible life of necessity. All this while she had a house. Furniture was old, but there was furniture. There was a maid to help her. She did not appreciate it then. Now she understood what it is to live a poor life. They had to remove the maid. They had to send away the maid. They had to change their house. They rented a house somewhere in the attic. You understand what the attic is?
Attic is the top part, usually used as a storage unit by many houses or otherwise left unused. It's like between the
Roof and the
floor of
floor. Top floor, yeah. So they started living there. Attic in France, most of the times, there are buildings, and the topmost part where the is the space. So there are some places where you can't even stand straight. There are places only where the roof is tall. There you can stand fully and work. So they had to live there. Read. Trisha. She learned the odious work of a kitchen.
She washed the dishes, she washed the spoiled linen, the clothes and dish clothes, which she hung on the line to dry. She took down the refuse to the street each morning and brought up the water, stopping at each landing to catch her breath. And clothed like a woman of the people, she went to the grocers,
The
butchers and the
fruiterers,
fruiterers with her basket on her arm, shopping, haggling to the last
sow.
of her miserable money.
So now she had to do all the kitchen household work. She cooked, she cleaned, she took the garbage down, she brought the water up, she went to the market and kept bargaining till the last sow, even for the last paisa, as we say, no? She would bargain, and that's how she was living a life. Yes, Vedanti.
How would it?
I don't know. You're not paying attention? Continue reading.
The husband worked evenings, putting the books of some merchants in order, and nights he often did copies at 5 stores a page. And this life lasted for 10 years. At the end of the 10 years, they had restored all.
Okay.
Miss Lois.
So even husband worked extra. He worked in the office, then in the evenings he put in the work, that means he did account for some merchant, he copied few pages for somebody else, and that's how he tried to earn extra money. And this difficult life lasted for how long? 10 years.
How many friends?
Man.
Sorry?
36,000
36,000 francs.
Madame Loisel seemed old now. She had become a strong, hard woman, the crude woman of the poor household. Her hair badly dressed, her skirt
Ori.
her hands held. She spoke in a loud tone and washed the floors with large piles of water.
Pails of water.
Pails of water. But sometimes, when her husband was at the office, she would sit herself before the window and think of that evening party of former time, of that ball where she was so beautiful and so flattered. How would it have been if she had not lost the necklace? Who knows? How singular is life and how full of changes. How a small thing can ruin or save one. One Sunday, as she was taking a walk in the
Champs-Élysées, that is the area.
To rid herself of the cares of the week, she suddenly perceived a woman walking with a child. It was Madame Forestier, still young, still pretty, still attractive. Madame Loisel was affected. Should she speak to her? Yes, certainly. And now that she had paid, she would tell her all. Why not? She approached her. Good morning, Jeanne. Her friend did not recognize her and was astonished to be so familiarly addressed by this common personage. She stammered, but madam, I do not know. You must
be mistaken. So it so happened that one Sunday she was, see, in these 10 years, even she had become a strong, hard woman. Who? Madame Loisel. She had worked hard, and after 10 years, one day when she was roaming around in Champs-Élysées, walking in the Champs-Élysées, she saw Madame Forestier. And then she decided to go and say hi to her, talk to her. Okay, let's finish this because the last part is the most important one. Just read quickly.
No, I am Matilda Loisel. Her friend uttered a cry of astonishment. Oh, my poor Matilda, how have you changed? Yes, I have had some hard days since I saw you, and some miserable ones, and all because of you. Because of me? How is that? You recall the diamond necklace you had loaned to me to wear to the minister's ball? Yes, very well. Well, I lost it. How's that, since you returned it to me? I returned another to you exactly like it, and it has taken us 10 years to pay for it. You can understand that it was not easy for us who have nothing, but it is finished and I am decently content. Madame Forestier stopped short. She said, you say that you bought a diamond necklace to replace mine? Yes, you did not perceive it then. They were just alike. And she smiled with proud and simple joy. Madame Forestier was touched and took both her hands as she replied, oh, my poor Matilda, mine were false. They were not worth over 500 francs. Now I shall cry at night. Mera hai wo wapas. I will cry myself to sleep tonight. Thank you so much. That hurts. Justice for Matilda. Why did Madame Forestier not tell her?
Why did Matilda not ask her?
It's pride.
Why did she? What pride? Why did she assume somebody will give you pure diamond necklace? Why would somebody lend Someone, will you give your gold to someone?
My nightmare is marrying Matilda. Her husband is a poor man. Guy. Justice for guy. Sir Loisel, not Madam Loisel, please.
कुछ समझा वेदांत?
हाँ पूरा
क्या हुआ एंड में?
एंड में जो वो नेकलेस था वो रियल डायमंड
हमने पूरा स्किट किया था एक्चुअली उन्होंने नेकलेस कैसे खोया ना वो मुझे लगा कि चोरी चोरी करके दिखा
Okay. What? नहीं रखो तुम तुम्हारे लिए. Thank you.
आपका डायरी में से निकला ये
पापा की लाइब्रेरी में से वाओ.
मैं छोटा सा दादाजी का चाहिए पहले पापा अपने पास कर लिया उससे वो अभी पुरानी टेक्स्ट बुक्स हैं मैंने फेड ऑन पे दीदी इनफैक्ट फैमिली से पहले भी बुक्स पढ़ी है